In this week's episode, James is exploring how many times you can fold a piece of paper in half. You've got Mythbusters, YouTube channels, science blogs, schools and clickbaiters, all trying to put their own spin on the situation. And now you. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you my method for surpassing the 8th fold and getting that elusive 9th. I did go and look and see if there was any other videos on this topic. There are. The maximum number does seem to be 8. There are many videos claiming to have 9, and all of them are faked. I'm going to be really interested to see what he comes up with, because he probably wouldn't release a video unless he could actually do 9. Okay, so before we begin, we have to establish what it actually means to fold a piece of paper in half. Say this was our piece of paper, right? In order to fold it in half, the two halves must be completely folded over so that they are essentially parallel to each other. To me, folding something in half means that some element of it has been halved. That could be the height or the width. Although this seems kind of ridiculous, from the other videos I've seen, I think this is actually quite important. Now, this is a standard piece of paper that I get for free through the post every so often from a company called TV Licensing, who like to tell me how I should give them money, even though I don't have a television. This company, TV Licensing, can't understand this fact that some people don't watch television. They're not very nice letters to receive, and I'm quite glad actually to see James put one of these letters to actual use. We take the piece of paper and fold it lengthways. Now, I've got a little tool here just to help me make these creases. Is using a massive triangle to flatten your edges cheating? I don't know. Probably not. Okay, that is our 6th fold, and we should be able to fold this in half again and get 7 folds. It's amazing how many videos there are on folding a piece of paper in half, considering how visually uninteresting it is. Now, I have one that I did earlier, but it's much more compressed. Okay, the difference between the one you did earlier and the one you just did, there's like, here's one I just did and here's the one I did earlier. How did you manage to get that one so compact and small? About the midpoint, and this is very difficult to do to keep everything in line. And I think we've got enough space that we might just be able to get an 8th fold here. You know, even sped up, it seems like he's actually really struggling to get this 8th fold. That is an 8th fold. Okay, now I have one that I have earlier. Of course he has one that he's made earlier. Let me guess, it's half the size of the one you just folded. Same kind of shape as this one. Okay, but I've put a rubber band around this one so it's slightly easier to see. So if this is a 7 fold and this is an 8 fold, what on earth is a 9 fold going to look like? And here's where you get these clickbait image from. So it turns out we need to be more creative in how we're folding this in order to get our 9th. If the only way you can get 9 folds is by being creative, maybe you haven't got 9 folds. Is there another way of folding a piece of paper? Well, yes. We could of course fold it diagonally. Now the trouble that we had with the 8th fold was that it started getting very, very thick. But if we fold it diagonally like this, not all of the paper is being folded over, yet it is still being folded in half. I see what he means. He is being creative about how he's folding this, and I guess technically he's correct that he's folding it in half, but I don't know, tricky one. I guess this one's going to be a topic for debate. Okay, we're now going to do the same thing again. And this time we're going to fold it up to those peaks here. So again, we're folding it in half, okay, it's just not strictly completely in half, in that all we've done is fold over these parts here. So at this point we've now got a very difficult fold because we have to fold this in half again. So the most difficult part of folding this is keeping all the layers genuinely in line with each other. It is interesting to see just how much time and effort he is putting to get this 9th fold. I mean, maybe this is the reason why no one's really ever done it before, because no one's that interested. So this is our 8th fold, and now we just have to make that 9th one. And there is our 9th fold. Now I have another one that I made earlier. Of course he has another one that he's made earlier. Okay, so this is 9 folds. So is this a genuine 9th fold? Well, to me the answer is yes. You can certainly fold a piece of paper in half more than 8 times, but you cannot double the number of layers each time. I like the way he's actually analysing whether or not his 9th fold is legitimate. That's certainly a question I have, so I'm glad he's tackling it. The 9th fold is essentially the same shape, it's kind of the same size, everything about it is pretty similar. But the differences are that this piece in the middle is very, very thin and flimsy, whereas the 8 is very stiff and rigid. This one will have varying thicknesses throughout it, and that's what allows us to get that 9th fold. Okay, whereas this one, every single layer has the same amount of thickness. This one is a slight cheat, but it still folds it in half every single time, and that is really, really important. How many times can you fold a piece of paper in half? The answer, I would say, is 9. If the question is how many times can you fold a piece of paper in half so that you double the thickness of the paper each time, then I guess the answer is 8. That is 7, 8, and 9. You know, this is why I tune into James's channel, right? You never know what you're going to get. But every time I tune in, I'm always quite delighted because I always get to see his inner brain working, right? And his brain is clearly fascinating. He doesn't think about things in the way that everyone else does. I mean, so many people have tackled how many times you can fold a piece of paper in half, and they all kind of end up with the same results. They all end up cheating in the same way. But James has been able to fold this piece of paper in a way which I've never seen anyone else do it. I cannot give James anything but a high mark for this video, right? It fulfills everything that I look for in James's videos, albeit it was a bit boring, right? It wasn't that exciting. And I know he tried to make it a bit more exciting, but you know, it's folding a piece of paper in half. The idea was there. I think the execution was pretty much there. I'm going to give this idea of James 8 out of 10.